Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And this is another Batwoman Season 2 episode review. And another, what I would say, another solid episode of Batwoman. By far right now, it is my favorite. Um, and yeah, wow. We get the introduction here to Mr. Victor Zsasz. Obviously either you know him of if you read the comics or if you don't read the DC comics, you know him as the one main freaking serial killer in the Arkham games for Batman. So other than that, let's talk about this week's episode and what I thought. So the episode essentially starts off in this little suite area, and we see later on it's Victor Zsasz, but Victor Zsasz goes on in there and he kills these two people. We later found out the reason why he did kill those two people, but it was, I guess you can say, very freaking crazy, a very freaking hectic start. And then I just was freaking like I was just like, squeezing up or clenching up when he freaking cut, himself, because we know Victor Zsasz, after he makes a kill, he likes to cut himself and leave like a mark, essentially a number of how many people he killed, which is freaking disgusting if you ask me. So yeah. Anyways, um, so after that whole thing, also, can I just say this? Well, yeah, I'll get out the way now. I thought the actor that played Victor Zsasz was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, like he sounded like a crazy psychopathic type of person. I thought he did a really good job. So, congrats. I don't know who the actor was, but good job. I thought he did a pretty good job playing Victor Zsasz. Um, anyways, what happens next is Ryan eventually stops a deal going on, and essentially, the deal is, we later find out that this deal had like some sort, I forgot what was some sort of drug, what the drug was called, but this drug essentially had Scarecrow's toxins in it. Now, obviously, we know that Scarecrow was supposed to be a major like thing this season, but I guess they lowered his role in this season. But okay, it's nice to see that they brought in something related to Scarecrow here. Hold on a second. Okay, back from that quick thing. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I wonder how that's gonna play. I also do think they also did make a Black Mass reference in this in the end of the episode. So that's kind of something I just wanted to get out the way. Um, yeah, Ryan also goes to a parole officer and then eventually goes to Mary, and Mary gets a call from Ryan's parole officer, and essentially Mary gives her the job to the bar that that she essentially works at, and she essentially manages and stuff like that. So essentially, Ryan's got herself a job. Um, now, we actually cut over again back to the Crows, and Jacob actually gets a hold of Kate's phone because they found it in the wreckage. And the thing is, he can't unlock it, and he was asking for Sophie, but we know with Sophie, which I'm about to get into, was clearly gone. Now, Sophie and Alice, they essentially are on the island where Sapphire is at, and essentially we find out that Alice essentially wanted to go there on purpose to meet with Sapphire eventually to try to kill her. So, anyways, we cut away from that and we go to cut to Hamilton Dynamics, and Zsasz is there. Zsasz is there. He ends up killing two more people looking for something. So yeah, what I found hilarious, the second guy he killed, he pulls out a freaking gun and he has Zsasz at freaking gunpoint. And I'm like, dog, just shoot him. Zsasz says, "Oh, your gun's not something." And then he takes a gun and then he essentially shoots him in the head. I'm like, bro, I'm like, dude, you're really serious? If that was me, I would have shot him in the head, dead face, if somebody just obnoxiously walks up in here into my office. Trust me, I would have did that. But okay, that goes to show you that people in Gotham are clearly stupid as shit. Like literally. Anyways, we cut back to the island. Sapphire actually meets up with Alice, and apparently, from what Sapphire says, she was not the one that blew up Kate's phone. I mean, not phone, her plane. She's telling Alice, "I didn't do it. If somebody else must have did it. If you think I did it, you must be clearly thinking somebody else." So yeah, then yeah, okay. So after that, it's kind of a shocker to Alice. I know I'm going back and forth, but yeah, maybe maybe I'll cut. Actually, I'll talk about that whole Sapphire storyline because honestly, I thought that was the most interesting thing the episode. Actually, before I talk about the Sapphire storyline, let me talk about the Zsasz storyline. So eventually, what happens is Ryan, as Batwoman, goes to Zaz's like little apartment to get like something, and eventually she gets these names to the people who's on his hit list and stuff like that. And we see a very interesting conversation between him and Batwoman, Ryan's Batwoman. But Zaz essentially saying like, huh, so you're the new Batwoman. Well, you're not really, let's just say, I don't see you as a Batwoman. You don't have something, you like your own taste. And then next thing you know, this dude, he pulls out a freaking RPG. I'm watching the episode, and I'm like, how the hell do you have a fucking rocket launcher from in your dang little bar area? So, okay, yeah, that's the thing. She later escapes, and we find out the thing that Ryan got a hold of was a list of names and stuff like that. And we later find out the list of names are essentially people on Zaz's hit list because we know he's a hitman, and stuff like that. So eventually Ryan comes up with a good idea, saying, well, I had accomplices or people I knew in prison who knew Zaz personally. So I'm going to go talk to him as myself, as Ryan, and see if I can get the information and find out who he's working for. And she eventually does that and stuff like that. But essentially, Zaz doesn't give away who he's working for and stuff like that. But then they later like track the fact that he was lying the entire time or something like that. They later find out the person he's working for is Sapphire herself and stuff like that. Eventually, and how this ties into the Sapphire storyline in terms of this, cutting back to the Sapphire storyline. The thing is, actually, one thing I forgot actually to mention, she actually did ask Zsasz, like, could you kill Alice for me? But, that's a whole nother thing. Now, anyways, going back to the Sapphire storyline and stuff like that, essentially, we find out that Alice, when she was taken under the wing of Sapphire, she essentially, like, did probably something really bad and essentially broke the island rules by essentially fleeing the island and taking information about the what is it? I'm trying to find the desert rose flower and stuff like that. And essentially, what we later find out in the episode is that the desert rose flower is essentially a universal, like, healing, anti-aging type of thing. Because this one of Mary's assistants says, like, yeah, this woman had, like, all these issues from the bat, virus. She got bit. Not only did, that whole thing clear away and she was helping from that, but this lady also had stage 3 cancer. And from using this antidote when it came in touch with the desert rose flower, it just automatically healed and took away the cancer just like that. And I'm like, well, damn, we definitely in this time period could use some drug like that where it could just take away cancer within an instant. I'd die to have that. Yeah. So, yeah, and that's the thing. In the end of the episode or near the town of the episode, you see freaking Mary's assistant brutally like killed where there's blood and she's just dragging all over the window. Because you have Zsasz and Mary's office essentially trying to kill her because essentially we find out that the people Zsasz was going after was the people who had taken the antidote, and he was killing the people who had taken the antidote, and he was also going to kill Mary because she essentially made the antidote alongside some people of Hamilton Industries or Hamilton Dynamics and stuff like that. But eventually that's when we see that Ryan comes down in the nick of time, which I thought the chase scene was very crazy. Although my only question is, why didn't Mary run any more longer in the alleyway to where Zsasz probably couldn't get her? But okay, I understand. Yeah, Ryan appears in her new Batwoman costume, That's going to be one of the talking points this episode. Obviously, her new costume. I think it looks cool. I think it looks personally to me. I think it looks fine. I'm gonna have to get used to see how I like it. But it's an interesting touch. You can probably make a nitpick. How did she change and make the upgrades to the suit so differently in a short period of time? Who knows? It's I don't know, superhero show. So yeah, eventually you see Batwoman versus Zsasz, and the funny thing is that's before he's like, oh, now that's what I'm talking about. Because Ryan's making her own Batwoman a thing, and stuff like that, her own way. They get into a fight, and eventually, because I guess Zsasz took Ryan's Batwoman, far too easy, because he makes mentions like, oh, he makes a confident remark saying, "Oh, that's how you hit, man. I've been in a tougher thing. I've fought Batman. I've been in tougher matches than this." And I'm guessing, that's how she underrated him. And then essentially, now you can call this nitpick of mine, but she kind of beat Zsasz by getting her, pole and just extending it and knocks him out. And I'm like, really? That's how Zsasz goes down? Just by a pole extending. Again, that could be a nitpick. And yeah, but still, I don't really see somebody getting knocked out by a pole. Now, yes, could you say, well, he didn't really see it coming and he took it to the head, so okay, but still to me, it's like, I don't know. I don't find that believable that a freaking villain who would probably be in Arkham Asylum would get knocked out so easily. Now, I know Zsasz isn't in terms of the higher tier villains of the Batman, universe, but he's still, I guess you can say, a dangerous guy and stuff like that. Maybe it's because he's not superhuman. He's just a regular human that just cuts people up. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's a nitpick. I personally didn't like the fact that he kind of got knocked out that way, but okay, it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, Ryan saves Mary. One thing we do, oh yeah, and then the one thing we do find, which is kind of a Luke and Mary side plot in this episode, is the fact that we know that Luke doesn't like Ryan being Batwoman, and he has this dead set focus of saying that he believes that Kate is still alive. Now Mary, they kind of get into an argument, and Mary kind of just comes to terms of saying like, well, I have my beliefs that she's dead because listen, the scientific facts hold up. Like, listen, yes, you can probably survive a boat crash or even a car crash, but have you ever heard of a story of somebody, surviving a plane crash? Like, and trust me, out of all the plane crashes I've heard, I don't think I've heard one person live from a plane crash. So yeah, they kind of get into a whole argument, and it was kind of interesting. By the end of the episode, you just have Mary and Luke kind of essentially just say, like, listen, I just have my beliefs that, in Luke's case, she's like, I have my beliefs that Kate's still alive. And Mary has her cases, her beliefs of saying, well, I believe that, Kate is dead. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to create any odd friction between the two. I don't know if I've said this before, but I still kind of ship those two characters. I'm really just waiting for those two to just finally kiss and hook up, I guess, because clearly they like, to me, I feel like they clearly like each other, but yeah. So yeah, anyways, as I go through my notes, what happens is essentially we find out in Sapphire's and at the end of the episode of the fact that as Alice is trying to kill Sapphire, essentially Sapphire gets the upper hold in this little scuffle and kind of holds Kate's little necklace and essentially saying, well, guess what? He's like, why would I have this? If, let's be honest, when I can give Kate to you. And it's funny too, because she makes mention, she's like, why would I have Kate if I blew up the plane, why would I have Kate? Which makes total sense. So we find out apparently that Kate is apparently alive. Now, again, I made this point in my episode 1 review. If Ruby Rose wants to come back, I guess, and do maybe an episode or 2 just to finish off her Kate Kane character, fine. Otherwise, A, they do that, or and B, they just recast it, which honestly, if they're gonna just do that or recast somebody, it's like, well, then dang, you're gonna just excuse me, you could have just recasted Kate Kane's character and just had the season the way you wanted to have it if they go that route of recasting the character, which I will have a nitpick to say because listen, if Ruby Rose doesn't want to come back and they really want to have the storyline go where Kate is still alive, and Ruby doesn't want to come back and they just have to recast somebody. My question to the Batman showrunners the Batwoman showrunners and stuff like that and directors of the show is, well, if you can easily recast a Kate Kane like that, why didn't you do that at the start instead of having Ryan come in as a new Batwoman? You could just recast Kate Kane and continue the storyline as if nothing freaking happened. So, that will be my criticism if they do go that route. But again, it's up to Ruby Rose. I said in my episode 1, if Ruby Rose wants to come back, because we know that her and the showrunners are not on the best terms and stuff like that. But if she wants to come back and say, okay, I'll do 1 episode or 2 and do not call me again, and, stuff like that. But we'll just have to see. I personally believe that they might as well just recast Kate Kane's character. Personally, I've advocated for that even before season 2 started. When Ruby left, I just said recast the character. It isn't that hard to do. So yeah, eventually Sophie and Alice get back to Gotham because essentially they kind of give them shots which make Alice and Sophie pass out. They wake up and essentially Sophie's like, well, now you're kind of on Sapphire's good list when she's talking to Sophie. She's like, just don't do anything to piss her off, otherwise she will come after you and she will kill you. So yeah, and then we see the ending with Luke and Ryan. Oh, actually, one thing. We see that Ryan's parole officer essentially said within like a week's time, you need to find yourself an apartment. You need to find yourself somewhere to live. And I'm like, damn, you're not even giving her a chance. I'm like, dog, at least give her 2 weeks to find somewhere to live. It might be a little hard to find, within a week to find somewhere to live. And 2, like, she just started working, unless they're paying her like thousands of dollars, what's the point? But I don't know how much maybe tiny apartment complexes would be in freaking Gotham, but okay. So it seems like Ryan's getting her life together somewhat. Luke does stop by the place and gives her a present, some new batarangs, and he does like, yeah, I made some more. So it goes, and he does later apologize for being kind of hard on her and being kind of rude. So Luke is starting to at least open up a bit to the fact that Ryan is going to be the interim Batwoman in his eyes till Kate comes back. So yeah. Anyways, the episode essentially ends off with Jacob looking through Kate's phone and seeing an image regarding a painting. I forgot the person, but it said Sapphire on the image. And Sophie comes in and essentially Jacob's like, where the hell have you been? I've been calling for you and you never answer any of my calls. And essentially Sophie's like, well, listen, apparently I have something to tell you. And the thing is, apparently Kate is alive. And that's how the episode ends off. And yeah, so I thought it was a pretty solid episode of Batwoman. We got some things about Sapphire that were pretty freaking interesting. So we don't know where that storyline's doing. Apparently, also Sapphire gave Alice a task to do if she wants to get Kate back. So that's another interesting thing there within itself too. I thought the actor of Sapphire was actually pretty good too. Definitely has a mysterious edge to her. So we're just gonna find out what's gonna be happening in her regards. Again, I thought the actor that played as Victor Zsasz was really freaking cool. I thought he did a really good job. He did sound like a crazy psychopath who just kills people to kill people and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, and again, credit to freaking Batwoman, like showing the fact that Zsasz actually cut himself. I'm like, God, that's so disgusting and that's so nasty. Especially when he cut his forehead. They did like he made it do it all slow, and I'm like, bro, stop it. So yeah, other than that, like I said, good episode. I enjoyed it. So yeah. Anyways, guys, yeah. Now, if you didn't see the next episode preview to the next episode of Batwoman, Batwoman is actually going on a 2-week break or a week break, I believe. It's going to be coming back February 14th. Because next Sunday is the Super Bowl, and obviously you can't have a Batwoman CW show on Super Bowl Sunday because Literally, people talk about the fact that the show gets no viewerships or no views, whatever. The show would get like no views, whatever, if they played on Super Bowl Sunday. So that's why, if you're asking why is Batwoman going on break, that's why Super Bowl Sunday's next Sunday. So obviously, guess what? You know, people are going to be paying more attention to the Super Bowl and watching more of the Super Bowl than, wasting their time watching Batwoman. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. So that's all I gotta say. So if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's Batwoman episode, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Batwoman or any other CW show, any other CW show content I bring to the channel. I believe next week, which is February 8th, Black Lightning is coming in its finale of a season. So I will also be reviewing Black Lightning, which actually comes out Monday, February 8th. So yeah, I'll be there to talk about the final season of Black Lightning. So other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night or day, or when you're checking out this video. Until then, guys, stay safe out there. See you guys in the next video. Peace.